Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another video here. So, I wanted to talk about a couple things here. One thing's actually a little silly, but so many people have been getting at me about this, and I'm not even kidding. I'm getting a lot of emails from it. A lot of people are tweeting or tagging me and things on Instagram, commenting on YouTube here mostly, and I guess there was like one or two, I think, on the Discord, but people think that Rick Grimes was in the latest episode of World Beyond. But not only that, there's actually some really cool things that the latest episode of World Beyond set up. It actually set up so much of what the opening scenes are going to be like for the Rick Grimes movie, and in terms of what actually happened to Rick and why he hasn't returned home yet. And I actually think this one aspect to it makes so much sense. You know, a lot of people, like, the question of, like, why hasn't he come back to Alexandria yet, right? Like, that was the big one. Like, why hasn't Rick Grimes returned to Alexandria? It's been 6 years. You know, you could go back at any point, but why haven't you yet? Well, Jadis says one piece of dialogue in the latest episode that I think is actually it's the perfect answer to that, and it's a little scary for Rick because it makes so much sense. So before we go any further, obviously, if you are new here, make sure to be a subscriber if you want all of my Walking Dead content like this. Now, the first thing I just want to get out of the way here, people think that in the latest episode of Walking Dead World Beyond that we saw Rick Grimes because there was a man with a hood on, and he had kind of like a whitish grayish beard, and everyone thought, and he kind of has that Andrew Lincoln Rick Grimes build, and everyone thought right away, oh, that's Rick, but it's not Rick at all. I know it looks like him, but they wouldn't just have the character there. And I'm actually really surprised by the amount of people that thought that it was Rick. And I mean, a lot of people thought that it was Rick. Like, everyone was freaking out saying, holy shit, Rick Grimes was in World Beyond. There was a little Easter egg. He was kind of hidden in the back. Maybe they'll explain this in the movie sort of thing. But no, it's a totally different character. It's completely random. Like, I hopefully this doesn't blow up out of proportion and everyone thinks it's Rick. But it definitely isn't. I promise you, Rick Grimes is not going to be in the Walking Dead World Beyond. Not only that, we actually do have on IMDb, it does say that Rick Grimes, Andrew Lincoln, will be in the last episode of World Beyond, but that is fake. I can promise you that is fake. That's like, people can sign into IMDb and just put whatever there, right? Like, they can upload whatever the hell they want there. It's not like the insiders of the movie or television industry, you know, are only able to add whatever the hell they want there. Anyone can. I can. You guys can. Like, someone put that there to troll everybody. Trust me, Andrew Lincoln is not going to be in the Walking Dead World Beyond. I think it would be amazing. You know, I think it would actually be really crazy if, like, maybe he made a surprise appearance. Maybe they were lying and stuff like that. But I would just say, don't get your hopes up for that. Really don't go into it expecting that's going to happen, because you're going to be very disappointed. Because I'm honestly, if he showed up in that, I would be freaking out. But, like, I just don't think it's going to happen. I'm like 99, pretty much 100% like sure that is not going to happen. Now, the big thing that I wanted to talk about in this video was obviously the reason Rick Grimes hasn't returned home yet, and then there's also some other little Easter eggs in the latest episode of World Beyond. Now, just to do a small recap here, obviously Rick was taken away 6 years ago by Jadis and the CRM, and was taken somewhere that, as of now, we believe was the Health and Welfare Complex. Now, he could still be there. We have no idea where he is, but I do think he's in the custody of the Civic Republic still. But that's something that they can definitely get into in episode 9 or in 10, right? Like, I think that's like really the last thing that we could learn is, like, where is he now? Like, where did Jadis bring him, right? And I think that's something that we could definitely learn in the very last episode, something that would be really exciting. But the biggest question that we've all had for a while, and it was something that, I mean, a lot of us really had in the very beginning, because they jumped forward 6 years and we were like, what the hell? Rick didn't go back home in 6 years. They still think he's dead. Like, why hasn't he returned? And there's been so many theories. People thought it was like amnesia, which I would have hated. People thought, oh, he joined the Civic Republic. He's evil now. He's a leader. That shit is stupid. No, it's not true at all. And there was also the more credible theory, which is kind of, I guess, right in a way, which is that he's been a prisoner this entire time. And I think that's actually right. But, you know, there was always a part of me that had a hard time believing that he was held prisoner for 6-7 years, right? Like, I think that's just a little crazy to do that, because that would mean the first part of the Rick Grimes movie is going to be him literally being held captive for that many years. I imagine they are going to do a time jump in the opening minutes or something. They're going to do, I think, something in that first movie, but the real reason that Rick Grimes hasn't returned home yet, I think it is connected to a line of dialogue that Jada says in the recent episode of World Beyond. And I don't remember the exact line, but basically it was, if you want to threaten someone, you know, threaten their family kind of thing, right? Like threaten the lives of their family. And I think that right there is a key piece of dialogue that Jada said that I think is actually like 100% perfect. I think it explains everything. Jada's threatened Rick's family because she knows where Alexandria is. She knows where the hilltop is, the kingdom, which means the Civic Republic know of those communities. They threaten Rick's family. They said, if you escape, if you try to go back there, we will kill all of you. And obviously they can. Rick's going to see that, right? So Rick's not going to go back. He's not that stupid. He's not even going to try and risk it. I'm sure there's a whole part of it where he's like, well, I just want to let them know that I'm alive. Like, they probably think I'm dead. But Jadis and them are like, nope, there's no secrets. We can't do any of that. We can't let anything out. And so I think that's where Rick's like, you know what? I got to try. And I think that's actually so perfect for the initial like beginning plot of the movie, right? Like, if you think about it, what is this movie going to be about? You know, it sounds so cheesy just saying it's going to be Rick versus the CRM. He's going to try to take them down, blah, blah, blah. It sounds so dumb and cheesy in that way, but if you make it where it's like, well, he's going to try to escape this place, right? Like that's the initial plot. He's been taken captive, right? Like, it's one of those, what's that movie there with Alcatraz? It's like Escape from Alcatraz. I don't know what movie is it. I think it has Clint Eastwood in it, I believe, but they escape Alcatraz, and it was just, the whole movie was about that, right? And I think this movie could be a lot like that. We see Rick in this new place, held captive, you know, learning some stuff about like what they're trying to do with the cure. You know, they might slowly introduce that in that first movie, and then some stuff with the higher ups, but it's going to be Rick trying to escape this place, trying to get back home. Jadis is going to be against him, right? Because Jadis is basically like, Jadis sold Rick to the Civic Republic. And so that's going to be a big part of the movie, you know, like Rick's going to find out that, you know, pretty early on that he can't leave, because if he tries to leave, they're going to threaten his family, or they are going to threaten his family. And so at that point, he's going to try to learn more about this place and like, can I persuade them to let me go? And if not, then what can I do to actually get out of here? Because this is the one life I have. I want to be with my family. And that's the whole plot of everything, right? Hashtag bring him home, bring Rick Grimes home. And I think that's a beautiful story right there. I think that's basically been the entire story of The Walking Dead is family, right? Like sticking by your family, fighting for your family. That's really been the whole story in a nutshell. So him trying to escape and then encountering some other stuff, which is going to open the world much bigger with the Commonwealth, and then everyone finding out he's alive, being reunited with a couple people. That's actually, in my opinion, like perfect. It is brilliant. And now we get to the other piece of information that we learned, which is that we likely know why Rick Grimes's boots were left on that ship. And it's because Jadis, or just maybe another Civic Republic soldier, made him take his boots off because it meant that he wasn't going to run, right? Because she does it in World Beyond episode 8, or maybe it's 7 or 8. I can't remember what episode it was, but she does it there where Silas doesn't have his shoes on or something like that. And so it was because he couldn't run, or he's less likely to run, right? Or would have a hard time running. And so it's such a simple thing, but it makes so much sense. Like, you're going to take his boots off. He's barefoot. Like, if he's trying to run away, he's going to hurt his feet. Even if he doesn't care about it, he's like, no, I'm just going to run. I don't care how badly I hurt my feet. Like, if you're running in the woods, you step on something. I mean, I know from having small kids, like, any little tiny toy, like a piece of Lego, a car, anything, it's not even kidding. It's probably the worst pain I've ever experienced. It's crazy. And so I think that's a perfect strategy. And I think we actually learned a lot of what the beginning of the Rick movie is going to be about. And I kind of find it weird that not a lot of people are talking about it. Like, we now know why Rick hasn't left, I guess, the Civic Republic. It's because, they took his boots. I'm sure he has other shoes on, but for whatever trip they were doing, that's, they initially took his boots off. So because they took his boots off right away, that's going to happen in like the opening sequence, right? Where, I don't want to say sequence, but opening scenes, like not necessarily the first scene, but maybe the second or third scene in that first act, right? Like, we're going to see in that first act, right? Like, we're going to see Jadis order him to take his boots off, and then he's barefoot for a while. I'm sure later on in the movie, he'll get shoes on, this and that, but he might be in the Civic Republic and they'll threaten his family at that point. So he won't want to come back, right? But he obviously loses his boots, which is going to suck. What the hell is he going to wear? Like, that's going to be one of those really big epic moments in the second movie when Michonne comes back with his boots. And I actually think that's why Michonne took the boots and never gave them back to Virgil, or I guess she didn't know Virgil was going to go back, but didn't leave them or try to like send them back kind of thing. Like, she was like, no, I have these boots. I'm going to keep them with me I'm going to bring them back to Rick. And so when we see Michonne, that's going to be one of the biggest, most exciting parts about that scene as well. I mean, it's going to be the reunion. Obviously, that's the biggest part. But when Rick sees his boots and he's just like, you know, putting his boots on, it's like Iron Man with his glove, or like the Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet. You know what I mean? It's going to be such an epic moment because he's always worn those boots. And so, yeah, you know, everything, all the little pieces are starting to come together. And I'm really excited for all this. Honestly, I'm so excited for the first Rick movie. And I can't wait to see what episodes 9 and 10 are going to bring and what they're going to introduce here. It looks like they have a lot of this first Rick movie plotted out already. Like if they're introducing these things in World Beyond, they have a lot, which actually makes a lot of sense because Andrew Lincoln said that they were going to film the movie this year. They didn't because some things changed, I guess, in terms of writing. You know, the scope of the movies changed, which basically just means, you know, like they might want to make a universe out of all of it with other movies, like do a Michonne movie or a Negan movie, right? And they're trying to figure out where it's all gonna fit, and they want to expand it, or you know what I mean? That's why Norman Reedus said the scope of it has changed. So they're working all that out right now. But you know, scripts are never really done. You know, like you might get that confirmation that, yeah, the script is done, you're ready to film. But obviously, when you're filming, you're going to be reworking the script quite a bit. You're going to be like saying like, okay, this part I want to change. I want to change this part of the dialogue, this and that. You know, scenes will be different, reworked. But yeah, I think they're very close to doing this Rick movie, and I think we are going to get that update in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So anyways, I'm going to leave it here. Make sure to post your hype, your excitement, and everything for everything. But yeah, I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. Make sure to be a subscriber if you want more Walking Dead content like this, and I'll see you guys in the next one.